What's going on YouTube? I'm your host Joss. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. If this is your first time here, make sure you stick around to the end because we do comment features and bloopers and you do not want to miss out on that. You can find the BTS team outside of YouTube, our Instagram links are down below, and hit the subscribe button so we can hang out every day. As for today's Top 10 countdown, I am continuing a list and doing a part 2. You guys want to hear more about Hollywood stars who chose to live a regular life. So let's get into it. Starting off our countdown list, number 10 is Cameron Diaz. She has been one of the most loved names in Hollywood and spent many years working as a busy actress, showing up in practically every rom-com there was. That's why people were shocked when she announced that she was going to be leaving her acting career and just wanted to live a regular life with her husband, Benji Madden. The now 46-year-old told InStyle, "I started experiencing fame when I was 22, so 25 years ago. That's a long time. The way I look at it is that I've given more than half of my life to the public. I've done so much, I feel fulfilled with the adventures I've sought out in my life. I am in a great place." Yeah, I'd be in a great place too if I grew up in Hollywood. She's basically set for life, guys. She also said that she doesn't miss performing, so the chances of her making a return are slim. She's currently looking into the landscape of wellness, she said, and says that she has some new projects brewing. So could we be seeing a wellness lifestyle blog or something from her soon? That'd be pretty sweet. I'd probably read it. Up next, number 9 is Kevin Jonas. So we know that the Jonas Brothers have reunited and are back on tour right now, but did you ever wonder what the hell happened to Kevin all of these years? After the group first split up, we saw Nick continue with music and acting, and we also saw Joe pursue a music career as well, but what about Kevin? He kinda just disappeared and did his own thing. We didn't see much of him in the Hollywood spotlight. Like at all. That's because he went from a full-time music career to being a full-time entrepreneur. Throughout those years, he started a company and is the co-CEO of The Blue Market, which is an influencer marketing company. He also formed a partnership with We Heart It, which is a video sharing app, to go hand in hand with his company. When asked why he switched from music to this, he said, "I've always had a passion for the tech industry and I like to help build interesting products." On top of that though, he also got married and is now a full-time dad to 2 beautiful daughters. Some people didn't even know if they'd see him back on tour this time around, but you cannot have the Jonas Brothers without all the brothers. It just ain't right. Although we can all admit that Kevin is kind of useless in that band. Cruising to the number 8 spot is Dave Chappelle. For more than 30 years, he has been known in the world of comedy for making people laugh, but then he earned himself the title of the guy who walked away from Hollywood at the height of his success. His show on Comedy Central, Chappelle's Show, was in its prime when he decided to literally ditch and fly to Africa to live a normal life. This is not an exaggeration, that is exactly what he did. He recently came back to comedy and has a Netflix special, which received mixed reviews by the way, in case you're maybe wanting to watch it. But even though he's making a return, he is still trying to keep a low profile because that is where he feels comfortable. He spoke with CBC News and said that he isn't a fan of fame. He said, "Fame is a horrifying concept when it is aimed at you. At the end of the day, you don't have that much control over it. I found an altitude I was comfortable with. I found a way to do what I like to do and avoid some of the parts that I was uncomfortable with." As for his show, he said that he will not be returning to it. He literally pieced out to Africa and was gone from Hollywood for years, so the fact that he can just walk back in like this is pretty impressive. In spot number 7 is Elizabeth Hurley. You probably know her from Austin Powers and from different tabloid headlines. The British bombshell was once an A-list celebrity but then left the public eye to be a full-time mom. Back in 2005, she announced that she was taking an extended leave of absence from acting so she could focus on raising her son. Since then, she went from the glamour and glitz to the farm life. She admitted that you could find her on a tractor and cutting down hedges and trees. She's basically just a huge outdoors person. On top of the lifestyle and career change, she's focused on a different career path and started her own bikini line called Elizabeth Hurley Beach. When she's not designing bikinis or farming, you can find her being a social media queen. That is right, this girl is Insta famous. As for acting, we saw her make a brief return after her disappearance in 2005. She took on a role in Gossip Girl for a year and then went off the map again. In more recent years, she is making her way back into the scene a little bit by starring in TV series like The Royals and Runaways, but she is the first to admit that she is content with her life of farming, making bikinis, and most importantly, being a good mom. And at number 6 is Jonathan Taylor Thomas, also known as JTT. He became a huge child star after voicing the young Simba in Disney's The Lion King and then preteens fell in love with his character on the hit TV series Home Improvement. He played the role of Randy, Tim Allen's son, throughout the years from 1991 all the way to 1998. The series has become a household name, and people were crushed when he left the show and vanished from Hollywood unexpectedly. He was just 16 years old when he was at the height of success and decided to leave it so that he could live a normal life. He left his acting career and went to Harvard University, where he studied philosophy and history, and then he finished his degree at Columbia University. He spoke on his decision and said, "I wanted to go to school, to travel, and have a bit of a break. To sit in a big library amongst books and students, that was pretty cool. It was a novel experience for me. I never took the fame too seriously. It was a great period of my life, but it doesn't define me." He's now 38 years old and says that he would like to eventually work behind the camera. He still has a passion for TV and film, but does not see himself returning to acting. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Phoebe Cates. She was all over the screen in the 1980s, playing the hot girl next door in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The beautiful brunette was stealing hearts and earned herself the title of a sex symbol, mainly because her character pranced around in a red bikini and was kind of a whore. From there, she continued to book roles, and some people from this generation might recognize her from the Gremlins movies. But from 2001 to 2015, she stayed off the radar for the most part, and we haven't seen much of her. She moved to New York with her husband and 2 children to live a more normal life. When asked about it, she openly says that she retired from acting to raise her children. She also says that she never really enjoyed acting. Well then. In 2005, her career focus turned to fashion, and she opened a boutique called Blue Tree. It's this funky general store that sells everything from olive oil to clothing, and apparently they are just all handpicked by her. Olive oil and clothing. That's kind of weird. The store is a huge success, and she admits that sometimes a customer will tell her that she looks like an actress from the 80s, to which she replies, "I get that a lot." Here we are at number 4 with Michael Scheffling. Even though he had a short 7-year career in Hollywood in the 80s, he is still famously known for his breakout role as Jake Ryan in 16 Candles. Most people would agree that he was lined up to have a pretty bright future with acting, but then he walked away from it to live a normal life with his family in Pennsylvania. He's remembered as the 80s teen heartthrob, but he is now 58 years old, which makes me feel really old. He also modeled for magazines like GQ during his career before calling it quits in 1991. He completely vanished, but he has done a few interviews with magazines and newspaper articles, giving us any kind of update on what he has been up to. Since leaving the industry, he moved back to Pennsylvania, where he was born and raised, and went into carpentry. When asked why he left in the first place, he said it was because of the lack of good acting roles, and because he had to support a growing family at the time and acting was not cutting it. You know what they say, starving artist, and that is a real thing. Today his net worth is estimated to be a modest $500,000, but he still has a successful business back home and a very loving family. In our third spot is Freddie Prinze Jr. He was riding high on success when his career took off in the 90s. He starred in movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer and She's All That, and from there we saw him charm us in a handful of movies after that. Most people know him for playing Fred in the live-action Scooby-Doo remakes. He says it's the movie that gets him recognized the most. Well, his exact words were, I quote, "If it's guys, it's Scooby. If it's girls, it's She's All That because you were all in love with me back then." Modest. Well, he's not wrong. Scooby-Doo is also where he starred alongside his wife, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and in 2009 when they decided to start a family, Freddie's priorities had shifted. We started to see less and less of him as the years went on, and he says that he became a full-time dad. But his career focus shifted to cooking, and he released a cookbook in 2016 called Back to the Kitchen. When asked about acting, he said that he is done with that part of his career, but we still see him popping up in some roles here or there. Like some minor stuff. But for the most part, he is happy living his life as a husband, a dad, and apparently a chef. In the number 2 spot is Sarah Michelle Gellar, because I think it's only fair that we put his wife on this list since they both left Hollywood together. The beautiful actress became known for her iconic role as Buffy Summers in the hit TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. After finding success from that show, her career took off and we started to see her in other things like Scooby-Doo, The Grudge, The Crazy Ones, Cruel Intentions, and even The Big Bang Theory. But her career started to slow down as well when she became a mom, and it looked like she wasn't going to bless us on our screen ever again. She too turned to a food business just like her husband Freddie. She's the co-founder of an organic baking company called Food Stirs. She has openly talked about her experience of leaving the acting industry to become a full-time entrepreneur. She told Forbes, "Being an entrepreneur is like shooting a movie that films 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's definitely a constant learning curve." On top of that, she also wrote a cookbook of her own called Stirring Up Fun with Food. So basically these two left acting to be parents, write cookbooks, and start their own food company. Couple goals. Filling in our number 1 spot is Daniel Day-Lewis. The actor had fans stunned when he announced in 2017 that he was going to retire from acting. People admired his work for years. He has the title of one of the most respected actors of this generation and one of the greatest actors of all time. Quite the title to live up to. His last role was in The Phantom Thread when he took on the role of Reynolds Woodcock, but he says he didn't know at the time that it was going to be his last movie. He opened up to Variety about his decision to retire and said that he doesn't know the exact reason for wanting to depart from the acting world. He said, "I haven't figured it out, but it settled on me, and it's just there. I dread to use the overused word artist, but there's something of the responsibility of the artist that hung over me." He also went on to say that he had no desire to watch his last film, and that is when he knew that he needed to stop working as an actor because that connection was gone. Turns out he no longer wanted the glamour, fame, or money. I think you still want the money. He is currently living out of the spotlight and basically off the Hollywood grid altogether. That is our top 10 countdown list. Smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it and let me know in the comments what you are thinking. While you do that, I'm going to respond to some comments from my part 1 list. Don Moore says, "I have no desire to be famous. I would be in trouble for my mouth like every other day." Girl, same. I think my attitude would piss off a lot of people. That's a fact. Prep for It says, "I would do it the opposite way. I would have a regular life, then become a star." Totally. It'd actually be nice to have like a regular childhood and then find fame later on in life so you could experience both. It'd be nice. Here's hoping. And Cynthia says, "Think I would rather have my skin peeled off than be a Hollywood star. They're all weird." Girl, you lost me at having my skin peeled off. I just got the worst image in my head. That is the weirdest phrase I've ever heard. Tony Hernandez says, "Where's my other girlfriend that works here? Or was it a different YouTube channel?" I think that's a different channel, my dude, because I ain't your girlfriend and I don't see any of your girlfriends here. Alright guys, there you have it. There's our list. Let me know if you want a part 3. I can try my best to make it happen. If you want to see more of us, just stay on this screen. You can keep watching and don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so we can hang out every day. Enjoy the bloopers. You were right. I don't like being wrong, Chris. Okay? I don't like being wrong. I'm always right. My exes will argue on that. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd probably read it. I don't read. Who am I trying to fool? Which is an influencer marketing not a program. Why am I saying program? I don't know. I'm gonna take that sentence again, editor, because whoa. I need a sip of water. Hold on. Almost missed my mouth there. I don't know how my mouth's so big. I'm gonna let this thing go because I need a breath. Jesus, take the wheel on my throat today. It's a little sore, Jesus. Take control. Think he hears me? Maybe. He spoke on his decision. Wow, I can't say that. Why can't I say decision? Okay. All right, decision. I still said it weird, but I'm keeping it. Can you imagine if sitting in a classroom was like a dream come true for you? That was a nightmare. But can you imagine to them, it's like, this is so cool. Bro, nothing cool about sitting in class, trust me. Oh, I like dread thinking about the school days. I'm so happy I'm old and an adult now. Now I'm paying off all those pointless classes. Mainly because her character pranced around in a red bikini and was kind of a whore. Just being honest. A customer will tell her that she looks like an actress from the 80s, to which she replies, "I get that a lot." I'd have so much fun, I wouldn't tell anyone. I was like, oh really? Not me. To have oh my god, my eye just did something so weird. Hold on. Doing better than I am, probably. 500,000? Yeah, just a little bit better than me. Just a little smidge. And apparently, a chef. Who knew? Not me. But a hot man that can cook, I'm all for it. I had a burp, excuse me. I'm just trying to make some mac and cheese. Just to get back, actually I don't need mac and cheese, that's a lie. I don't need that garbage, just some man. Everyone wants the money, but he's got it all, that's probably why. That is the weirdest phrase I've ever heard. What did I just say, hood? I've ever heard. I'm keeping it. I meant to say heard. That's the weirdest thing I ever heard. Sounds like I just said it with an accent, that's all. Oops. Just keep it, because I don't want to refilm that line.